What is going on, Ringmasters? It's Brent Dunn here with ringprofit.com. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to use an extremely helpful research tool called ZipAtlas. Now, what ZipAtlas allows you to do is it allows you to break down, based on location, all sorts of demographics data. As you guys should know, researching a campaign, especially at the local level, is extremely important. The more data you know about your target demographic, the higher your chances are of success. Also with research, it may not seem like a good investment up front because you're not making any monetary value from it right away. However, it can also save you a ton of money by helping you avoid campaigns that may not have worked. Now with ZipAtlas, it is free. It's a little bit hard to manipulate the data. So one thing I do suggest is if you're already doing some substantial revenue with pay-per-call or whatever, and you can afford to actually purchase the database outright, I would do that by clicking on database download. And just so you know, I'm not affiliated with ZipAtlas at all. I don't get paid, to send you here. I only suggest that you purchase this if you have the funds available, because it will help you down the road. You want to get this one right here, which is currently the US 2010 census. Here in the United States, we have a census every 10 years, so the most up-to-date one is from 2010. Obviously, a lot has happened in the last 7 years. However, this data is still valuable. And obviously, in 3 years from now, you will be able to buy the 2020 census, which at the time will be extremely valuable because the data is brand new. So let's go ahead and go back to the home page of ZipAtlas. The first thing you're going to want to do is go ahead and select the state that you were interested in running in. So in this example, we'll go ahead and select California here. And what it does is it brings us to the California page, and it'll show us all the demographics about the population of California. So right here we can see that there's 33 million people in California. It shows how large California is, population density, how many people per square mile on average, elevation, and the time zone, and if they have daylight savings time. This right here, especially if you don't live in the state, is basically important because if you're doing a campaign that's time sensitive, you want to make sure that you're actually setting your ads to the right time zone of that state. So the other thing is if we scroll down, there's a ton of information. I'm just going to go through this stuff quickly, but honestly, I'm not even scratching the surface. It really depends on the type of offer that you plan on running, the type of niche. Obviously, if you're running a plumber offer, you're going to want different information than if you were running one for, like loan consolidation or something like that. So there is a ton of information available. Now, obviously, if you already know what city you're wanting to target for a particular niche, then go ahead and select it. Or you can also do it by area code. If you want to make a site that's specific to a certain area code, you can hit multiple cities while still having your phone number just be 209, for example, or 213, whatever one you want. However, if you don't even know which city you should be targeting in California, for example, then I'll show you an awesome way to do it. Now, I'm just going to keep scrolling through here. There's going to be a ton of information. When you're doing your research, I suggest using as much of it as you possibly can because it's some crazy valuable stuff. By doing the research ahead of time, you can do your marketing persona, figure out the exact people you're wanting to target, and basically bring this stuff over to Facebook, AdWords, all that stuff, and be good to go. So let's just scroll through here real quick. I'll stop at ones that are more important than others, at least for the majority of niches. So for example, the first one up is the economy. In California, you want to see actual, the employment of California, and if you want to see where they're actually employed, you can see that as well. What they do for work, so a lot of California is professional, which is white collar. Service, construction, and production is more blue collar, and sales is white collar. The employment by industry, here's income. So this one is an important one. So you can see right here the national average of California for median income is $46,000. So knowing this, you're going to want to take this number and save it somewhere. So now if you scroll down, you can go to right under here with additional income reports. You can see median household income by city in California. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and click that. And now you have this nice little chart of all the cities that are higher end. So the reason this is valuable, so for example, what we can do is go ahead and select it and just scroll all the way down to the bottom and copy it, right? Or like I said earlier, you could just flat out download the entire database, which makes all this easier. So you're basically going to be having to scrape 11 pages to be able to use all this. And the reason this is important is, for example, if you know that you're targeting a certain area and you're trying to call up a client, you'll already know which cities are valuable to them. So for example, if I called up a plumber and I don't know where Portella or whatever, Rancho, Santa Fe, I don't know where these places are, but if you were to call up a client that was in a city around these places, you could say, hey, I'm getting a ton of leads from Rancho Santa Fe, are you interested? And the reason you'd want to say that is they already know that that specific city of leads coming from that city is going to be higher value than someone coming from a city with a lower average income. So what we'll do is we'll break it down even further and go by zip code. Now this is even more powerful because not only do we know which city, but we can even break down subsections of the city. So as you can see, Rancho on the other one was like 164,000, something like that. This particular zip code is a gold mine because it's the average household income is $200,000. So you know that this is a high-end place to target. In fact, it's number 2 on the national rank. So that means that there's a zip code somewhere in the United States where they make even more on average. However, there's only 7,600 people there. So in this example, this is a zip code that you obviously wouldn't want to advertise debt consolidation, student loan consolidation, any type of loans or gambling or stuff like that. It's probably not going to work out. However, stuff like home improvements, so like commercial landscaping, kitchen remodeling, stuff like that, this zip code is going to be valuable. And to all the advertisers that aren't doing this types of data research, they don't. So to give you a better example of how to use this data, what we'll do is say that you were wanting to target plumbers in San Francisco. What we'll do is we'll go to select city in California and we will do Control F. Okay, somehow it's not working. San Francisco. Here we are. Okay, so we click on San Francisco and now we are getting the median household income of all the zip codes in San Francisco. So what we can do is we can scroll down here, and now that breaks it up a lot nicer for us. There's only 27 of these. So we can just literally copy it and paste it into Excel, or however you want to save your data for San Francisco. And what I would do is we know the median income of California is 46,000. So what you can see here is these zip codes are under the median household income in California. These ones are above. So what I would do is I would break these zip codes into 3 different buckets. So for example, anything below the median household income, so say like right up to here, these 6 or 7 zip codes, I would tag them as low income zip codes. These ones like up to like 60,000, I would target these as median household incomes, and then I would put these as the high income zip codes. Now there's a few things you would want to do. You would want to put all these zip codes first off in your call tracker if you're using geo redirects. That way you can know how many leads you're getting from each of these zip codes if you're just getting phone calls from a source where you can't target by zip code. And this will allow you to help filter quality. So for example, if your plumber client for some reason is loving the quality you're sending from these zip codes, you'll know that by tagging the phone call with that zip code. However, if the quality for these specific zip codes are terrible, then you can actually go ahead and just exclude these zip codes entirely, or try and find another client or offer that these would work with. That's the beauty of it. You're able to set up even your call tracker to be able to filter this stuff. Also on the front end, you can also use this data to target differently. So for example, if you know that the high household income zip codes are doing extremely well for your client, what you would want to do is separate your campaign if possible, create a campaign that's only targeting these zip codes, and spend a little bit more money. Now, even if you're not making as much from the leads, the quality that you can be sending your client is very important, because then that could help you send some lower quality stuff as well to increase your volume without them getting pissed, because you're still sending them a large portion of jobs. So just knowing this information alone is useful for every single niche you run, no matter what. And I highly suggest, like I said, creating an entire doc of not just one city, but like, for example, San Francisco. If you have a plumber client, likely they're willing to travel to Daly City, Pacifica, maybe even Oakland. Like, there's a lot of cities around, especially in California and other places in the US. There's lots of cities and towns that are very close to each other, and so clients usually like to travel, not usually like to travel, but a lot of them will, to pick up more jobs than just in their target area. This also allows you to slowly expand out and get leads in other cities slowly with one client, and then start expanding your client base over time.